It was on a winter morning. We were strolling by Lagoa da Conceição when Fernando formally asked me into marriage. Beatriz, will you marry me? I was only 23 years old, however, I was already assured of my love for him. Therefore, the only answer that came to my mind was yes. Almost a year is gone, and I am now a few hours away from that great moment. My best friends could not wait for the day to arrive, but just so I could have that much sought-after bachelorette party. For months, they had made plans. Vanessa and Aline wanted the best, from Google Boys to binges of tequila. On her turn, Patricia, the one who best understood me, just wanted to party at some bar whatsoever. For a while, I resisted. I did not think such an event was necessary, and in every way, I tried to convince them otherwise. However, impossible as deep down I thought it would be, I was unable to dissuade them. The college time friends made me give into such a will. Therefore, I chose my favorite bar to say goodbye to my bachelorhood. The night was full of booze and rock and roll. I never had many close friends. However, if there was someone I owed my life to, it was Patricia. Always the most sensible while the craziest, we both had lots of fun and we have always been friends. In fact, I can remember a time when Patricia was not present in my life. Patricia graduated in business with me, but that was never her straight. As a hobby, she always loved photography, and one day she decided to earn a living on it. Over time, we went different ways. I always respected her sexual inclination and never stopped being her whole friend because of that. Besides, Patricia was a wonderful luck grabber during the party. She had always had this sculptural, beautiful body like a Barbie doll, attracting the most beautiful and rich people around. In the end, I had fun with them while she was looking for some female companionship. Her attraction for women began in college when our former statistics professor invited her for a coffee. I never wanted to know more about it. It just hung my bell. This coffee made her the most accomplished woman in the world. I got into the car park and into my mind came so many memories that for a few minutes I remained where I was. My life has always been a struggle. My parents were not rich, and if I had come as far as I did and managed to graduate and become the woman I was, I undoubtedly owed much of that to my parents. I fondly remember the long conversations we had as a family. With my older brother already married and living in São Paulo, I was responsible for taking care of my parents and never failed to do for them everything I could. After finishing high school, I passed the college entrance exam. I was admitted at UFSC and I began a new life. Friends, even more parties, and Fernando. Throughout the years, of course, he was my companion. Now, a few hours of my marriage, I realized that so much effort had simply paid itself off. I never thought of marrying at 23 and always wanted a more independent life, as did Patricia. Actually, I wanted someone, as to me no one is completely happy alone, but getting married? I have done so many crazy things, got into so many jams. However, everything changed since I met Fernando. I must confess that at first I did not like him very much. He had some quirks like wanting everything instantly. Still, he did not rest until I accepted to be his girlfriend. For me, Fernando was a wonderful man. I smiled and felt my eyes water when I realized that I had already spent more than 10 minutes inside the car. I took a deep breath and only wished that my last maiden night were unforgettable. I went into the bar and that familiar sound of AC/DC prickled the hair on my body, and at the introduction of Black and Back, Patricia, already waiting for me, welcomed me with a big hug. Then I realized that for one night I had returned to those delicious maiden times. Aline and Vanessa arrived together, and so neat were they that my ripped jeans resembled rags beside their glittering dresses and their super high heels. Patricia had been in charge of the guest list, and as one might be expected, she did not want an intruder in the girls' night. The badass quarter, as we always doubt ourselves in college, was present that night, and much was about to come. I disrespected the requirement of my best friend by inviting the wife of Fernando's friend also to join our party. Ingrid did not know the girls, and as we always run couple games parties, I found it fit to invite her, since at Fernando's request, she and Julio would be our wedding groomsmen. Packed as always, the bar brought me so many good memories that for a few seconds, I wondered that would be the real reason to get married. True friends, as they always were, they knew by heart all about my past. And with her eyes, Patricia already pointed to a guy who worked as a bartender at the famous Chopp do Gus, who had charmed me before I met Fernando. Beatriz, it's our bachelorette party today. You will soon be handcuffed to bedposts, being released only for cooking, washing, ironing, and looking after children. Therefore, my dear friend, you can and you should have your last maiden sex. Patricia emphasized, pinpointing her finger to Fred without any discretion. Like me, the bartender was blushed and amid the ambience gloom. I could see that even with the sublime shame, Fred threw me a smile so seductive that made me understand the possible reasons for not getting married the next day. I would rather have my last maiden sex night with Fernando. If you do not mind, I snapped at the dangerous provocation made by my friend. I laughed, and Aline ordered 4 draft beers and the first round of tequila. Ingrid was not yet with us, and when she came in, she promptly apologized for the delay, adding that unfortunately she could not stay long, since Julio, the friend of Fernando's, I did even like that much, as he was the kind of husband who prefers the wife to be at home taking care of dinner. My biggest fear in joining my life with Fernando's was undoubtedly one of becoming a mere homemaker like Ingrid. Moreover, since both were always very good friends, I feared that even further Julio's influence in making my future husband become a scoundrel like him. However, Ingrid has her tricks. She always had her own house and car. I remember that during their marriage, a relative of Julio's, already well drunk, blurted out during a conversation that Julio had only married Ingrid to have a life. So to speak, a quieter one. He did not love her as much as she loved him. Ingrid was undoubtedly a brilliant woman. Her only fault would have been falling in love so blindly with Julio. Ingrid sat next to me when she arrived, and Patricia, who was furious at my having invited someone strange to our evening, but she quickly calmed down when she first saw Ingrid's smile. If at any time there was some tension in the air between Patricia and me, such tension disappeared at the very moment Ingrid greeted my friend. The first round of tequila finally arrived at our table. We made way between the beers we'd already drunk. Right after we all had the salt on the back of our hands, between the thumb and forefinger, Vanessa was the carrier of our first toast of the evening. May your life be like this drink. At times it will be salty and bitter as the mix of salt and lemon, but surely may there be plenty of tequila so that after the bad patches you may laugh unbrightly at all that comes about. After the beautiful clicking of glasses, we gulped down willingly the fiery Mexican drink. The evening went on, and while Ingrid looked anxiously at her watch, Patricia asked, "May I know the reason for such anxiety?" Patricia asked Ingrid, frowning while staring at her. "Actually, I have promised Julio to lend him a car so he could visit a client," Ingrid said as she opened her WhatsApp messenger. "Yes, of course, I heard Julio works very hard." Patricia pretended to agree, as she did not yet have any intimacy with Ingrid. "So, my best friend had a great idea. Chopp do Gus was famous for serving a drink full of mastery. The famous green hell actually tasted like 2 punches in the face. In order to calm down the newest member of the group, as Patricia herself had suggested, we took Ingrid to the bar counter to get to know the drink and maybe try to relax a little. Ingrid, full of excuses and explanations, tried to convince Patricia that she couldn't drink that much. She had a time set to return, and if she did not fulfill the agreement with Julio, she would be jeopardizing his work. It was almost 11 p.m. and Patricia wondered who, in their right mind, would believe that crap. Like me, Patricia despised Ingrid's husband. She already knew him well enough to understand that he would be the client of some slut in the morning. Therefore, there was no way to convince her. As the drink was already being prepared, I took the responsibility to have it. Tequila, absinthe and mint were ingredients of the potion, and as I did mention before, it was like 2 punches in the face. I got the strong drink into my mouth. While the girls were at the table talking and Ingrid was outside the bar on the phone, certainly negotiating with Julio a little more time with us, Patricia and I went to the bathroom and once again, to the sound of lots of rock and roll. I was already feeling drunk enough to fear that my bladder would betray and embarrass me after an accident in my pants, and while I relieved and balanced myself so as not to sit on the bar toilet outside, Patricia made her promise. "Take good note of that, and I will tell you, Bia. Your friend Ingrid will be mine. I cannot stand even to imagine her with that asshole Julio." As I dried and dressed myself up, I agreed with her. Julio was really an asshole, but even more stupid was Ingrid, who, blinded in love, accepted such a relationship. Nothing in this world will make her give up this marriage, my friend. Just be sure of that. They have been together 3 years, and all the time I saw Ingrid with him. I felt her noticeable passion. Now Julio is cold and does not show much feeling. I just hope in my heart that one day she can let go of him and be truly happy with someone else. I agree. Therefore, will it be with me? Patricia said, while leaning over the sink, staring in the mirror. It would be great to see you happy with someone as well. I know you cherish your independent life, but hope one day to be sitting in this bar celebrating your maiden farewell party. Hopefully, I wondered about the future of my friend. The life I've chosen is good and makes me happy, but there is still many prejudices, and even when meeting someone nice, there is always their family getting in the way and preventing my happiness. I am waiting for things to happen naturally, Bia, And if I have to be alone, I will be happy anyway, Patricia defended herself. Even assured of her convictions, Patricia did not realize that her eyes showed a slight solitude, and I, as a close friend, knew her well enough to know when she missed a mate. Also, as a friend, I did not say anything else on that subject, and then we left the bathroom. Patricia opened the door and went back to our table, and when I tried to do the same, I was prevented by my sharp tug on my arm. Returning abruptly, I felt my breast go against his strong chest. Fred, the bartender, had noticed my trip to the bathroom and waited for me to leave and then tell me how happy he was to see me again. "Who would say I still feel something so strong for you, Beatrice?" said Fred, on his mouth getting close to mine, while his hand clutched my arms. All that made my legs slacken as he spoke to me. For a few seconds, I confess that I did even understand the words coming out of his mouth. The usual fragrance brought me the most delicious memories of times we spent together. Fred almost became my boyfriend. I met Fernando in college and fell in love madly. Since then, we never spoke, and feeling his body so close to mine made me lose my mind. "Hi Fred, good to know that the bar still holds the best bartender in town. I am even happier to see you as well," I said, pointing at his muscles, which weren't known to me since at the time we dated, Fred used to be strong but not very physical set. "I was hoping you would come back to me. I saw that you are with the girls. Would it be a celebration for bachelorhood again, or are you still dating that maroon Fernando?" His husky speech invaded my ears as he slowly pulled me even close to his body, causing me to gasp for breath. "Actually, I am here to celebrate my bachelorhood." His gaping mouth smiled at the news as he slid his finger over my hair, straightening it behind my ear. "But I'm celebrating my last day of singlehood. Fernando and I are getting married tomorrow," I continued, as I showed him my engagement ring. Fred lost his smile instantaneously, and letting me go, he allowed me to breathe again. "Is this some kind of joke, Bia?" he asked me, looking like an abandoned puppy. "It's entirely true, and honestly, I have never been so happy in all my life," I told him, showing an air of superiority while my stomach turned over, expressing my will to attack his fleshy lips. Fred took a deep breath, and then I realized he would not insist on anything with me. "Good to see you happy then, and I hope you keep it that way." Even beside him, his voice barely left while his body turned away from the wall, as if he were giving up everything at once. "I appreciate it, and even tempt to let something happen to us today. Though I prefer to keep myself untouched by fidelity." I gave the game right away. Once again, Fred took me in his arms, and now, rubbing my body on the wall against which he was leaning before, he uttered the words that in the future would be the solution for some problems. "Today I'm here if you want. Tomorrow I will still be here. And if someday you look back and see that you still need me, I will be here again. Never forget that, Beatrice." His eyes glaring at mine as he said that, my panties soaked, and he made me shudder to remember how tremendously horny I was made to feel about him. I won't forget, Fred. I will not forget, I said, fluttering while pushing him away and trying to stand on my feet. I went back to join the girls. I sat down and I swallowed at once the rest of the hot and bitter draft beer that was left on my mug. I took a deep breath and I asked for another round of tequila. My friend, you almost risked not having your last bachelor kiss being given by Fernando, didn't you? Patricia, full of mischief, and her eyes teased me after watching the whole scene from a distance at the bathroom door, and continued. I thought you would not resist, but I'm proud of you, and Fernando would be even more, said Ingrid. I felt that my soul was there and my body crept up to the table. I had never felt about anyone the lust I felt for him, and I can confess to you that it was God who took me out of that dark corner. I confessed it. And for Fernando, she asked, what's up with him? I asked her back. Isn't there any chemistry between you? Vanessa still wondered. With him, it's different. There is chemistry, but in bed, I have never had someone as spectacular as Fred. Fernando and I are romantic and he gives me great affection. We were friends first and foremost and complete each other. Since college, we have always been together and we are still like that. But sex is all in a relationship, Bia, Aline completed. Sex will vanish one day, girls, and as we grow old, as I really hope, we will still have each other. We will still sit on the porch of our house and give hands like two lovers. Love is what matters most. I agree with you, Beatrice. Ingrid supported me while answering Julio's message on WhatsApp. Patricia rose from her table and went to the car. Vanessa and Aline looked at each other and laughed quietly. Ingrid also tampered with her mobile and out of the corner of my eye, still trying to get back to my senses, I watched as Fred prepared drinks behind the counter. Our tequilas arrived, and before drinking again, Patricia returned to the table with a wrap in her hand. After everything I've seen and heard, I guess it's time to offer you the gift. Patricia stretched her arm towards me and gave me a beautiful package. What's it, Patty? I asked curiously. No offense, my friend, but if all of us are as lucky in life as you are now, we will be very poorly fucked women, said Aline. Loose laughed spreads throughout the bar. I'm pretty well fucked, Aline. Don't worry. I defended myself from the ironies. Anyway, we need to ensure our well-being. So we'd like to give you something very special and chosen by myself, said Patricia as she handed me the paper bag with a beautiful purple ribbon that adorned the handles. All turned their eyes to me and to Ingrid, who was still nervous about Julio's pressure and demanded that I immediately open such that gift. Standing, Patricia already positioned the phone to register the big time with a photo. I undid the tie and threw it on the table. I took out of the bag another pack folded under tissue paper. Then I put it on the table and there emerged my younger friend. At the click of the phone's camera, I see with astonishment a dildo of about 20 centimeters, and feeling embarrassed, I hide it away back into the paper wrap so as not to feel myself like even more out of my comfort zone. Don't hide it. We have purchased it caringly, and we have a mission for you, said Patricia while letting go of her cell phone and pulling the toy away from my hands. Mission? I asked her in distress. Yes, a mission, said Patricia and continued. Remember that very cute tourist who was staying at the inn where your father used to work? Patricia asked, and while still standing, she pulled out the rubber pennies from inside the packing. Which one, my friend? I asked, trying to hide my face as some people had already noticed the new member of the table. The one who took to the dunes of Joaquina and made the best blowjob of his life, in his own words. Patricia spoke while gesticulating as if she had a penis in her mouth. What about him? I asked, looking for a hole to stick me into and hide myself. Well, we want to see how much you can swallow of this little toy here. Patricia cried with a loud and clear sound while clutching the member and prickling it onto my face. Vanessa and Aline couldn't stop laughing. Ingrid, wide-eyed with a startled face, was in doubt whether she found weakness or fun of that situation. Patricia, I won't do it. It's embarrassing, filthy, and undoubtedly humiliating. Therefore, if you are my friend, keep it off. I planned in each and every way. Well, my friend, you have two options. Either you can suck it quietly here on the table, or the entry bar will know of your exploits with tourists who were staying at the inn. Patricia challenged me with malice aforethought. I could not believe I would be exposed to that extent, but I swallowed my shame, and since everyone was looking on, I would rather assent like that than having my detailed sex life made public to other customers. I will suck it, I started firmly. I was amazed to see people from 2 or 3 tables next to us shooting and cheering on my decision. At that moment, I wished for my death. I pulled the vibrator from Patricia's hands and, fondly imagining Fred's penis, I gobbled the toy up to where my mouth allowed. And from the counter behind us, I heard that familiar voice shouting, "If you put everything in your mouth, the next round of beer is on me," Fred challenged me. More applause arose, and with it came euphoric screams, hovering the table. I realized that a group of boys encouraged me by repeating, "Suck, suck, suck." Holding back my urge to laugh, I took a deep breath and started to lick the toy. I licked and swallowed. I slipped it into my mouth until I felt the little head through my uvula. I breathed in through the nose and finished the challenge swallowing up the base of the penis. My hands and forehead were sweating, and when I realized I would want fans all over the bar. Of course, with them, many jokes coming from kinky boys who ordered several drinks along with little invitation notes throughout the night. I threw the slobbery toy to Patricia, who, laughing about it all, applauded along with everyone who was close to us. "This is my friend," she said. "This is Bia," said Fred. Everyone looked at us, and I began to feel ashamed by flirting with him just hours before my own wedding.